Hello, my friends. It's Sabrina, and yes, I'm in a different spot tonight. Um, I am back in Arizona. I almost have my stuff set up for real in the other room. It's been a crazy, crazy time. So I've been back here for about a little over a week. I do kind of split my time between New Mexico and Arizona. And I'm just going to come on and have a little talk tonight because I've been busy. I've had a house guest. We've had a great time, but I just haven't had any time to really focus on having a chat with you all. So tonight I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I have my wonderful hot pack on my neck, which even if it's 175 degrees in Phoenix, I still put this hot pack on my neck and on my back when I go to bed. That's my little self-care thing. So November, November was wild. November was just busy, crazy, intense. I mean, it was Scorpio season, so that can happen. Um, but I just have to tell you all, like I said, or I'm just going to have a chat tonight. I don't have any cards. I don't have anything with me. Um, I just found that there were times in November that I had so many things going on, so many things to worry about that I would just find myself spinning like a top, those kids' toys that used to go. Well, I found myself actually spinning like that. Now, many of you that know me might say, Sabrina, you always spin like a top. Well, I'm always busy and I'm always on for the most part. But November was just, man, I don't know. And I'm just really curious if the rest of you had a November like that. I mean, I did have a lot going on. I had a client intensive right into, I'm a pretty big position as the MC at a convention, Susan Lynn's. And then, as soon as all that calmed down, I had to start packing up myself and my four cats to go to Phoenix for the season. I have an electric fireplace on. I don't know what the thing is, what's going on here with the lighting. Let me see if I can fix it. Um, anyway, it was just a lot. So, and I got here, and within like 3 days, I had a friend come for the weekend. We had a great time. But, then again, I'm busy and I didn't have time to do anything. So I'm now just kind of starting to settle down into this season, the winter season, where hopefully we won't get any snow because I don't ever want to see snow again as long as I live. So, anyway, this kind of madness in November, I listened to a podcast. I think it was last night. I'm losing track of what day it is again. That started when COVID happened. I've never gotten out of that. What day is it? But and there's a cat. That's Seffy. And I was thinking about how crazy it was, and then when listening to this podcast, I heard this person say spiritual responsibility. Okay. That kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And I thought I should talk about that tonight. So, what does that mean to you? What does spiritual responsibility mean? So, when I heard this and I started thinking about November, and one of the things that I thought about when I was so crazy in November with so many things going on, um, so many different directions, I had to stop myself many times and just say, all right, Sabrina, you need to calm down. You need to simmer. You need to simmer. Simmer down. And I literally had to, in my head, there's a lot that goes on in this head. I had to literally say to myself, you've got to calm your insides down. You have to. Because if you're going to set any sort of example to anyone else, even though your insides are out of control, you have to get a grip on those and you have to stabilize and you have to say, okay, there's a lot going on in my head. There's a lot I have to do. There's a lot I have responsibility for, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So as I heard this a night or two ago, and this was just a quick, it was Molly McCord. She said, spiritual responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And, my head snapped around like, wait a minute, what? And that's how I get a lot of ideas for these talks is I'll hear something, read something, see something. And then I figured I ought to talk about that. So spiritual responsibility, what that means to me is if I'm going to consider myself a spiritual person or a spiritual being. Now, I'm not talking about religion. You can be religious but not spiritual. You can be spiritual but not religious, but I also think you can be both. But as far as spiritual responsibility, looking back in November, I felt like it was my spiritual responsibility to simmer down and get everything into perspective, get my list going, and, prioritize and get stuff done without spinning my insides into oblivion. So also when I heard that spiritual responsibility remark, I've always been very big on talking the talk, walking the walk. And I just feel like that is my spiritual responsibility to still do that, to talk the talk, walk the walk. So looking back on November without even thinking about spiritual responsibility, I just felt that I had to simmer down and I had to put one foot in front of the other. And, they say, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time, if you have that pink elephant in the room. But when I heard this whole spiritual responsibility thing a night or two ago, November hit me. And then I also started thinking about the holidays. Now, we are all crazy around the holidays, or most of us are. I'm a person that does all my Christmas shopping really, really super early. It's already been distributed to where it needs to go. It's already been mailed. I have another gift or two to drop off, but that's already done. And the problem with that is all the sales and all the shiny and the bright and the ribbons and the parties. I still feel like shopping, so I buy myself things. So it doesn't really serve me that well to shop early because I just spend twice as much. The other part is on myself. But where I'm going with this, as far as the spiritual responsibility is, I think that the more evolved you become spiritually, the more evolved you become trying to raise your vibration, the more evolved you come in trying to be of service to others, that comes, I think, with a great deal of spiritual responsibility, because you have to talk the talk, like right now, and you also have to walk the walk. And it is not easy. So, what are some examples of this? So, some examples are when everybody is crazy, there's long lines, people are short tempered, you're short tempered. I think that becoming more evolved is that you can get a grip on those emotions a little bit better, unless you're driving. I am a Boston driver. I readily admit it. That is kind of my downfall. Is I drive like I mean it, and if you don't drive like you mean it, get out of my way. Now it's the holidays once again, so there's going to be a lot of people out. There's going to be a lot of shopping, and I think that to become more evolved as a person, and it's not easy, is that you have to catch yourself in so many situations where you have potential to behave badly. Now, we've all been there. I've been there. I might have been there more than most people, but I think that it's important to think about how you're trying to become as a person, how you're trying to help others on the planet, um, and what vibe do you give out? Are you giving out this joyous holiday season vibe, or are you being a nasty ass? And I'm not perfect at this, I readily admit that. But I just thought that this whole spiritual responsibility thing was something that to think about. Okay. If you're, looking to increase your vibration, raise your frequency, um, better serve humanity, help other people raise their vibration and frequency and all of that, that's a big responsibility. And the responsibility is to your own behavior and to how you respond to different situations and different things. Are you responding with your vibration up here, or are you wallowing in the mud with the rest of the madness? And how do you keep that high vibe? And how do you act spiritually responsible? Now, I don't have a lot of solutions for that, except that I'm a big, big believer in paying attention to your thoughts. Okay. So for me, in November, when my insides were reverberating because I had so much to do, a lot of responsibility. That's when my Oracle deck came out. I had to have that ready. I had to have a website done. I had to do an excellent job for someone who trusted me with that job. And I was really reverberating. And then in my head, I thought, you can't keep a high vibe if you're crazy. So, excuse me, I talk a lot. That's why my voice is better here in Arizona, but I do talk a lot. I talk for a living. So I want you all to think about this whole spiritual responsibility thing, and what can you do to take responsibility, I guess, for your own spirituality and your own presentation in your own head. Are you aware of your behavior? Are you aware that you're spinning? Are you aware that you're a nasty ass? Are you aware that any of this is going on? Okay. Sometimes I don't even think people are aware of what they do. They put on a really good show, but they can't maintain that. And that's one of the things that I pay a lot of attention to, because I know a lot of people, and I quietly, well, as quiet as I can be for me, I quietly kind of sit back and observe people. And I observe them. This thing is coming on again, sorry. I observe people to see if they're actually who they pretend to be, because I think there's a lot of people out there that they're perhaps one person on YouTube, and then when you meet them in person, they're not like that at all. And then that's confusing. As a kid, I grew up with that energy. My grandmother was one person to me, she raised me, and then she was nasty. And then she was just this sweet, wonderful person when anybody else was around. And I'd be looking at her saying, "What? You just told me you hated them." So I don't want to be that person. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be fake. I'm not fake. I would like to think that people realize that. So that's one of the things that I observe. And I think that that is a big spiritual responsibility for yourself and other people. Because if you're two or three different people and people don't know who you really are, I'm not so sure you know who you are. And I think to become a more evolved person and um, to raise your vibe and keep that high vibe going, it's not easy, believe me. But I just think that that's something that we all need to think about, is this spiritual responsibility thing. And, are you being true to you? Because being true to yourself is also spiritual responsibility. Because if you can't be true to yourself, you can't be true to other people. You're going to produce a fake vibe that sooner or later people are going to pick up on that, and they're going to be like, yeah, this person really isn't who they who they pretend to be or who they project to be. And that, nobody wins that way. So this is just kind of my little chat tonight that I was thinking about. And I think one other thing during this uh, season of craziness and parties, and a couple of things to think about. This isn't a party for everybody. This is a really hard time for a lot of people. And I think that we can lose sight of that if we have it good. I mean, I have an amazing life. I am so grateful. Um, I don't have a lot of money. I do okay. I work my butt off. I've always worked my butt off my whole life. But there are people that are really struggling right now. And I think that part of being spiritually responsible is, can you give these people a pass during this season? Because not everybody is having a great time. Even if I love Christmas, I love all of this shopping, stores, parties, champagne, glitter, shiny lights, gold lame everywhere, and sparkles and confetti. I love it. I love it all. But not everybody does. And it's super hard for a lot of people. So let's take a little spiritual responsibility when we go out and about. Know that not everybody's having a great time. A lot of people are, but give a lot of people a pass if they're kind of ugly or nasty. and you try to not be a nasty ass in all the situations. I mean, anything can happen, but try. And, maybe you don't do such a great job, but then all of a sudden you remember watching this video and know that you have another opportunity to do better. That's all we can do, is just try and do better. But this season isn't easy for a lot of people. Please keep that in mind. Please keep it in mind that to become more evolved as a human, you have to take a lot of these other things and people and situations into consideration. And it can be challenging if you're going through your own stuff. So that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about. That whole spiritual responsibility thing kind of hit me in the face. And I said, I think that I'm going to bring this up. So sorry that I'm here in my bedroom and I'm not in my regular spot. Hopefully I will be tomorrow. And my name's Sabrina. This is Tree of Life Inner Guidance. I do have a degree in counseling, so that's probably why these topics come up and or things that I like to talk about. And everything on this channel is for spiritual and entertainment purposes only. I hope if you like this little chat or some of the other stuff I have going on here, please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments about spiritual responsibility, I'd love to hear them and see if that kind of hit you the same way that it hit me. And I just want to say one other thing. On my channel, there's a little section where if you'd like to order my brand new Oracle deck, the Land of Enchantment Oracle, it's all my photography. It's all from Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a beautiful deck. It would make a fabulous Christmas gift for yourself, or maybe for a reader or a friend or somebody who loves New Mexico. You can order that. There's a link for that on the channel. So thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful to you. It just really hit me, that whole spiritual responsibility thing. So I'll see you guys again tomorrow. I am on with Marina on her channel, Heart Centered Tarot. And that's at 4:00 Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Maybe you'll stop by. And hopefully I'll get some cards out tomorrow or in the next day or two and put another video up. So thanks for stopping by. Please just know that you have it within you to keep that vibration high, to raise that consciousness, and to keep evolving more as a person. You can do it. Yes, you can. All right. Have a good night.